Last year's FÉILTE in 2020 was such an innovation in so many ways. It was the very first online FÉILTE. Teachers from around the country shared their innovations in so many diverse ways. After that, we had our first online beacons in Portlaoise, and we saw so many innovations in school placement during the year, again in response to the pandemic. We went for the theme of transforming teaching in a sustainable world for this year's FÉILTE. We had over 800 people watching online during the day. Started with the Minister for Education, Norma Foley TD, formally opening the event, and with an opening address from the chairperson of the Teaching Council, Sean McMahon. We then had my own conversation with Roddy Doyle, which was such a joy, such a laugh, and we covered the importance of creating spaces for creativity, our coping during the pandemic, and he really grounded in, I think, the realities of school life, and talked about the important contribution teachers can make to students' own creativity.
I was a teacher for 14 years. Just less than a quarter of my life I was actually going into the school every day and standing in front of what was then a blackboard. The film based on my book The Commitments came out when I was still a teacher. The two experiences of being a teacher and a writer are very much holding hands, they're side by side.
After that, we had a panel discussion on the very theme of FÉILTE itself, transforming teaching in a sustainable world.
We had a really experienced and diverse panel from around the world. I think we may have asked more questions than we answered. Teachers will hopefully reflect on that and work out what does that mean for them and their practice in the classroom, and ultimately the children and teaching and learning them will be impacted as a result. We talked about sustainability because in order for us to be the best we can, the children probably need to be aware at an early age of their actions or inaction, which is equally as important, and what it means for them to have their own responsibility at whatever level that is.
I was hosting the School Meet panel discussion, and this reflected the fact that the school placements had to take place during the pandemic. People really liked the changes that took place during the school placement. People formed better relationships with their cooperating teacher, with the Throree. The student teachers felt that they were in partnerships with the schools, and the schools were really glad to have this.
After lunch, well, as the expo area opening, including the teach meets, the showcases, the workshops, leadership meet, and a Córa Taide, a research conversation. The last panel discussion was on the theme of reimagining creative spaces in our schools. The primary teacher, post-primary teacher, a student voice, teacher educator, and a post-primary inspector, who all pointed towards the real challenges that exist in the system, towards creating more space for creativity. And it was just a fantastic conversation that gave such signposts to teachers out there. What can you do here and now to foster more creativity for yourselves as teachers and for your students?
Speaking as a teacher myself, I loved to have the opportunity to meet with other teachers and to see how they were approaching something that I was trying to teach in the classroom. And that very often would have given me a whole new lease of life with something that maybe I was finding a bit of a struggle.
Teachers submit videos to the Expo because they really want to tell the story of their innovation in teaching and learning. Given the space, they will share their innovation with their fellow professionals, with the public, with students. Every teacher has so many questions about things, about challenges, and they're knowing more and more through FÉILTE that some other teacher out there has an answer that can be of help to them. Across sectors, across primary, post-primary and further education, and now across the island with our first North-South showcase here at FÉILTE in 2021.
A key takeaway for me from today is in what Brian O'Doherty said. He talked about how teachers already have the skills, attitudes, competencies and values to be sustainable leaders in the community, and I think that's a really powerful message for teachers. It's something that teachers are doing all along, and perhaps we need to call that out.
FÉILTE keeps on getting bigger and possibly better every year because we recognise the need for it. Teachers really like to connect. Once again, FÉILTE was online. It hasn't taken away from that need for people to share and learn and connect with each other.
It's an extraordinary job and it's a brilliant job. I think it's a brilliant idea to celebrate it as opposed to analyse it.
The next year is going to be a big year for the Teaching Council in so many ways. We have a new registration database, a My Registration portal. And next year, FÉILTE will hopefully be a fully hybrid event. We will have significant on-site showcases and workshops, but an online element is so important to that too. So, we'll see you there.